Good afternoon, everyone, and pleasure to have you here today. We are here in for an insightful session on unlocking ROI, how Madtech optimizes customer engagement in a data-driven world. Uh, and Goal today is really to explore this topic, gain some good insights. Hopefully, like we go back with some actionable stuff over here. We've got quite a diverse panel out here: co-founders, clients, uh, at tech leaders. Um, we did exchange a few nuggets, I think, before this. So I'll just, rather than just seeing the name and the desig, I think I can highlight a few of the nuggets. So Anshul's been a consultant all his life. He started 12 years in Accenture and then working largely on the CPG business. And a big karaoke enthusiast, Punjabi, Hindi, and English, all the whole mix. So, Girish, uh, the founder of Shoplist. So, Girish been a Bangalore boy all along, I guess. And one of the things Girish mentioned was he's flown more kilometers than the distance from the Earth to the Moon and back. So we did some reverse calculation. It came out that he takes a return flight from Bangalore every week. And it's a 1%, 1.8 probability that, 8% probability that you'll see Girish if you take a Bangalore sector flight. Sandeep, I think this whole, one thing which came out interestingly was that whole intersection between virtual and offline. And he's a large part of his career is on that intersection. He founded Free Culture, which was a jeans brand ahead of its time, again working on that intersection. And now with single interface, he's on this whole journey of digitizing the offline businesses. Also, a great avid tennis player, and Nadal is his favorite. And there was one model which said that the tennis player you're a fan of, you imbibe the values of that player. So it's grit, determination, humbleness. Are these? Okay. And Deepak, co-founder of, founder of VServe. So Deepak brought up this interesting insight that how he was in the ad serving, the main business was ad serving, I think 10 years back, and how that one feature which he was doing kind of pivoted his whole company from ad serving to being a data company. Interesting insight. And Deepak's the avid swimmer. He's done more than 100 plus swimming pools in India. So, yeah. And Anshuman, so Anshuman's avid football fan. Man U is his club. So good cheer for Man U. They won yesterday 3-2 again in the Europa Cup with Amarin. So really unlocking the first one. We're just kind of unpacking this whole topic out there. So 3 buckets largely. The first is, I think, we'll dive into the intersection of Madtech, marketing tech, and advertising tech. What's called the Madtech here, and I'll maybe kick it off with Anshul and Anshuman, and so Anshuman, we had a chat, and you're in AkzoNobel. It's got this big B2C sector. It's got this big B2B infrastructure. And the journey which a consumer undertakes in AkzoNobel is quite complex. It's not like the B2C, right? You've got leads coming in, qualified leads, sales qualified leads, goes to the dealer, the painting job happens, then the loyalty program kicks in, post upsell, cross-sell, all of this. So it's quite a complicated journey. So interested to know about how you see solutions in Madtech really working for AkzoNobel, and how you see it in this complicated journey adding value.
So hello everyone, and thanks for the introduction. So just a bit of context before we start off, because not a lot of people might know AkzoNobel, but it is primarily the parent company of Dulux Paints, right? So, and I take care of digital marketing for Dulux Paints. So what Rajiv was saying is completely right, that it's a very complex user journey, but because you can imagine that anyone who's looking to get their house painted, right? The journey can start off from either looking at a hoarding, it can start from looking at a YouTube video, right? Your interaction points are so many, and your exit points are also so many. You can either buy paint from a painter, your interior designer could recommend it, you could go on Amazon and buy it yourself, right? So what happens is this journey becomes so complex that there are multiple touch points spanning across online and offline. And while it is important to remain consistent across these touch points in terms of communication as a brand, it is also important to stay relevant to the stage of the audience journey as well, right? Because at every stage of the journey, the audience is moving through a certain stage. So if I don't have platforms like Madtech, AdTech to support me, I will not know at what stage of the journey an audience is in, right? So they might be looking at my YouTube video, but I don't know. Have they already made a decision? Are they in the consideration stage? Are they in the awareness stage, right? So Madtech is something that helps me track this, that a certain audience that comes into the system, what exact stage are they in? And through AdTech, I can then say that, okay, at this stage is where this kind of communication needs to go out to this particular type of audience, right? So really personalizing the kind of communication that goes out from an advertising perspective is what helps us kind of bring everything to the table. So I think it's very important that having an integrated approach of MarTech and AdTech to bring together the right view of your audience during their journey is something which really works well for us.
Great. Anshul, I'll open it to you. And Paytm is this big powerhouse for data, 100 million users out there, and you've got this whole system where you serve personalized display. You've got this whole couponing system out there, and which leads to a big performance marketing solution you offer to advertisers. So can you talk about your own Madtech solution within Paytm, which you offer?
Hi everyone. Thank you, Rajiv, for the introduction. So before I just sort of talk about this exact topic, maybe just a quick minute on Paytm, because while people will know Paytm as sort of just an app, but it's this whole ecosystem where our USP from an ads perspective to any advertiser is the fact that we carry this base that you talked of, this 100 million odd users, where we have real-time deterministic transactional behavior of every user available, right? And so just sort of to start off to say in terms of how we deliver performance marketing, today, because of this huge base and not just transactions on an app, but also this entire offline ecosystem that we have, and this offline ecosystem being, a QR, a soundbox, like for example, Paytm today has 10 million soundboxes across the country, right? And you have transactional behavior from offline as well. We have payment gateways across large merchants, so you know which consumer is shopping at what point of time. Now, when you were to deliver performance marketing, what our endeavor typically at Paytm Ads is to get this consumer to engage with offer-based performance ads. And why we believe that sort of helps more is because these offers sort of stay in your user account even after they have been viewed, right? Unlike a banner. How they deliver ROI and how we personalize them is because we integrate with a lot of our advertisers' first-party data. So what happens is that a lot of our, let's say, an online e-commerce player or a food delivery app will sort of match rate with our first-party data, and then they will use different targeting across our data to be able to acquire new users, to be able to reactivate dormant users, or to just increase the wallet share of an active user, right? And this is possible because we are not just a publisher with, just the basic demographics of a user, but their last level transaction behavior in terms of category, purchase behavior, in terms of purchase spending frequency, in terms of geographies that they spend in, etc., right? And that delivers sort of performance marketing. This is sort of the ad tech part of it that we do. Just very quickly on MarTech, right? So there is re-engagement that happens obviously through our regular channels or WhatsApp, etc. But what our great strength is that, we've just added sound boxes, which is really old school offline marketing to our ad tech stack. And what that helps is that, at the moment of purchase in the sort of merchant environment, you're able to sort of remind the user or remind the merchant also from a B2B perspective in terms of what the offering of the advertiser is. So sort of combining the tech part of it and then the marketing on ground is there.
Great. Deepak, you positioned yourself as a as a data company offering consumer intelligence as a service. And you serve the needs of both ad tech and martech ecosystems. You're a big enabler for both. Uh, so an advertiser can leverage your solution for both the advertising needs as well as the retention needs. So could you throw light on how you're really serving this whole Madtech ecosystem as a value?
Yeah, so basically, just to talk about what we do is we are basically saying that how do we democratize consumer intelligence for marketing? Whether the marketing organization is a large evolved organization or it's a entry-level startup, right? So today what people are looking out for is saying that they want to make their advertising or their marketing dollars more effective or efficient. As we all know that 80% of the advertising is spent on Google and Meta. Okay, that's where bulk of the ad dollars are deployed today, yeah? So what we've basically done here is that we've got this platform where they get alternate taxonomies at scale. And we are a zero storage platform. It's an on-demand zero storage consumer intelligence platform. Our agency partners, our brands have access to the platform. They're able to in real time fetch signals, like the way we operate like an ONDC of intelligence. They're able to in real time pick up very smart segments, dynamically create cohorts, and dynamically go ahead and easily activate them on Google, Meta, DV360, or on a OTT platform, you name it. We are platform agnostic. So as a data company, we are platform agnostic. We allow everyone, to go ahead and leverage that. So largely, there are almost about 200, 250 plus brands which work with us. Our piece is that they're able to compare it. So when we talk about applying data, for ad tech world, it's very important that whatever a marketer does, they're able to compare and measure it, because finally it has to yield better results. And it has to be done in a manner which is in their comfort zone, yeah? So when they run campaigns, when a campaign manager is sitting in Group M or he's sitting at Bluestone, they're already running campaigns on Google and Meta. They're able to take our segments, apply it there, and compare results. So that gives them the trust and confidence that they themselves are executing it. So that's how data is helping them drive better efficiency. Okay, just to give an example, like one of our customers is, say, Zepto. When they take segments from us, they're able to say that on Meta, they're able to generate a 30% lift in average order value. So that's the advantage they get, or that's how they're able to measure it. In the same manner, a brand which has first-party data and they want to go ahead and leverage any MarTech channel, so they may go ahead and say that, listen, I work with a Mo Engage, I work with a Haptic, or I work with any MarTech platform for that matter, for my remarketing efforts or for my in-app notifications. So there again, being a data company, we are saying, listen, we'll give you rich segmentation. On top of it, it will connect into your MarTech ecosystems. So just as on the advertising world, we are not a DSP, we are not a publisher, we are just a company which says that we play only with data intelligence. Similarly, in the MarTech world, we say, we plug the intelligence into your existing MarTech platforms, which can then drive efficiency for you. So that's really how we play.
Great. Girish, your vision at Shopperlist has always been at the intersection of media and commerce. You want to make that journey from discoverability to commerce frictionless. And we touched upon this thing that if I go to certain utility apps like Make My Trip, the natural destination is for to go to the app or go to the website. But when it comes to large CPG brands, right, you've enabled the whole discoverability journey leading to these brands capturing first-party data, enriching their CDPs, as well as serving those right communication at the right time. So in a way, you've really enabled the Madtech for some of the CPG brands where destinations are not very strong usually. So could you highlight on these points?
Sure. No, first of all, when I actually got the invitation to be part of this panel, I thought I should correct that there is a typo, okay, Madtech. Then I was actually told that it's a combination of MarTech and AdTech. And it brings to an important point. The consumer doesn't care. Whether you're doing, whether the communication you receive is an outcome of your MarTech efforts or your AdTech efforts doesn't matter. So Shopperlist has always believed in building it around the shopper. So if you look at a shopper today, the problem to be solved is better discoverability and friction-free purchases, right? So discoverability has now gotten distributed. You don't discover what you buy just on Amazon or Flipkart, right? You buy it on, you can find it on YouTube, you could find it on Insta. Now the ability to discover something that you actually are interested in requires data, which is better targeting, right? The ability to take action from that discovery requires a certain experience. And that's the problem that Shopify solves at scale today. We work with large advertisers like Unilever, L'Oreal, P&G, to name a few. And we serve customers in 30 countries, and about 500 plus brands use our service every month. Now, if you really look at describing the three areas where technology can play a role, data can play a role, first is what we call as conversations. How can you enable brands to have conversations with audiences like you and me, who live on variety of different islands of, islands or gardens or what you may call, right? So we could be on the Google ecosystem, we could be on the Meta ecosystem, we could be on the open internet, anywhere. So how can you build conversations with people independent of where they live on? Yeah, that's one. Conversations is the important part. Second is, how can you convert those conversations to commerce? So that involves a certain experience that the brand has to deliver, that facilitates discovery of what you might like, and also helps with information and actionability on how you can buy them. Okay? Now, conversations leading to commerce is a great outcome. The icing on the cake is, can you build a community out of this action? Can you use first-party data to build a community of your own shoppers? Can you build a tribe of your loyal shoppers? And these three things, when they come together, the efficiency of marketing technology, efficiency of ad technology becomes super high for a brand. That's how we look at how data and technology can play a very important role. And this becomes even more important, like Rajiv rightly said, for larger CPG brands who don't quite have a destination. None of you in this room would go to a CPG brand curiously to learn about a brand, right? They have to come to you. And that's the reason why advertising exists. So when they come to you, if they come to you with a personalized experience that is driven by data, then it becomes so much more effective from a consumer point of view, so much more efficient from a brand's point of view.
Great. So Sandeep, Single Interface is this hyperlocal marketing platform. You work through the funnel with these brick and mortar, establishments. You drive discoverability, engagement. You also do geofenced activations. So could you talk about how the Madtech, AdTech solutions you're bringing into the brick and mortar establishments?
Sure, thanks. Interesting points by everyone. I think Anshul also covered a little bit of it. We all spoke about commerce, right? So I think from a Madtech and AdTech standpoint, most of the products today in the market have influenced the digital destinations, be it the websites or the apps, right? And if you see, 90% of commerce happens offline. For CPG brands, for automobile brands, for BFSI brands, right? I mean, look at the data, right? So only, even in the US, about 15 to 20% is happening through e-commerce. The rest is still happening offline. So that majority of the commerce which is happening in the offline world, that is pretty much ignored from the Madtech and the AdTech solution standpoint. So that's where we come in, where we say that we are, a full stack marketing AdTech, and I'll probably want to add commerce tech to it as well, because if you see an integration which can enable marketing, talking to advertising, which can also talk to commerce, and then funneling it back. So if you look at for digital destinations, the commerce happens through the likes of Shopify or your own e-commerce store. That's where you get a lot of rich party data, first party data. But if you look at offline, the typical commerce is happening on the POS, right, which is point of sale. So very limited work has happened on the point of sale in terms of getting the inventory from the store, what is being made available. So we kind of bring those insights also onto the digital surfaces. Most of the consumers today are digital. Their journey starts digitally, but the transaction typically happens offline. And that is still a major chunk of commerce happening. So we enable that journey of a customer who starts digitally and ends offline. And during that journey, how can we make it frictionless? How can we make it very, very smooth? So that the discoverability of the physical retail network or the branch network of these brands who are essentially driving commerce in the physical space, that can be enhanced. And from a marketing and ad tech solution standpoint, nobody does it today. Nobody really touches upon the needs of the brands which are actually operating the physical world. So we kind of plug that gap where we say that, okay, we'll come in, we'll digitize your physical retail network and provide the full MarTech, AdTech, as well as the commerce tech solution.
Great. We now move on to the second bucket, which is using data insights to measure and enhance ROI. So this been one of the topics in the earlier thing. I think it was a certain subtopic in the earlier discussion. It's been a perennial. Every marketer wants to do this. They want to use that insight to really boost the ROI. But here with Madtech, I think the intersection is it's all happening in real time. How in real time you get those campaign insights, those audience insights, and at a real time you start, optimizing and delivering that better ROI. So to kick this off, we'll go with Anshul first. So Anshul, you build this complete in-house ecosystem out there. You've got this 100 million deterministic audience sitting at Paytm over there, and you use a lot of ML techniques to segment these people, like a RFM equivalent kind of methodology. You've segmented all of them, and then you've got this in-house solution called RTCS, which then decides which segment to be shown at what time, what place, to whom. So that's a big data insights engine which you have. So could you throw light on this, please? That'd be great.
So in terms of data insights, for a marketer, and if I were to talk of the bottom funnel, right, ROAS, but there cannot be a truer metric than ROAS then, right? And the way we do this today is, and you talked about this deterministic audience that we have. So, imagine sort of, a consumer getting into a mall at a point of time, right? And I'll just borrow some example from what Sandeep also said in terms of the offline ecosystem and how you enable AdTech, MarTech there as well, right? Imagine this consumer getting into a mall and paying for sort of the parking through Paytm. At this point of time, you're aware that this user is in this mall, right? That she's paid through Paytm now. Now, because of our merchant ecosystem, there's geofencing data also available in terms of, so when this user enters the mall, Paytm and this RTCS system, and I'll talk about that as well, takes that decision, should the ad be shown for, Decathlon, or should the ad be shown for McDonald's at this point of time? And because that geotagged or geofenced data is available with us. And now using this, we serve sort of a few billion impressions every month on our own ecosystem on the app, and then a few billion more outside, on various publishers as well. Now, in two parts, we use sort of data insights. One is how do we target the right user? And that is done on the basis of this seed audience. And I think in the previous session that, from Trade Desk that was sort of conducted, there was this importance of the seed audience, right? Now this seed audience is built on these billions of impressions that has already been served on the Paytm app, which helps us decide, and through machine learning, in terms of what is the right audience to target for this next campaign, right? So that's constant machine learning that is happening. On top of this, sort of real-time campaign selection, or RTCS, as you mentioned, which is akin to sort of programmatic buying in an open auction world, but for the Paytm ecosystem today. That sort of drives which campaign is now to be served to this right target audience, right? Which sort of drives quality user and ROI for the advertiser, and then helps us maximize spends on our platform as well. So yeah, and all of this then culminating into ROAS, which sort of is the right metric we think to be measured. Yep.
Great. The organizers are pushing us on time, but so maybe we can keep the answers maybe snappy from this point on. So I'll start with Anshuman. Again, going back to the journey, the consumer across this journey is going through multiple touch points. It's disparate touch points, and one of the big insights which you want to do really is to kind of create this connected consumer journey, so you can really serve the right messaging to this consumer. So could you talk about this from an insights point of view, where your journey is going at AkzoNobel?
Yeah. So, and I think this is a very good question, because a lot of times the question is always that how is this affecting ROI, right? Even after knowing the customer journey, how are we able to take actions which can result in improvement in ROI? So I think what really works well is when we create the entire user journey across multiple touch points, right? We can then see which are the most common paths to purchase, right? Because there will always be a common path that someone came in from a certain point, and that is the most used path which exits at a purchase, right? So along these common paths, then how can we identify which are the points where the drop-offs are happening, right? So where is it that the audience is stopping engaging with us? Is it when they see our color palette? Is it when they engage with our sales team? Is it when they engage with the calling team? So through this journey, once we identify that which are the major drop-off points, we can then understand that how can we create communication collateral and serve it to that audience where they're dropping off from, right? Thereby reducing the drop-off, improving ad efficiency, per se, and obviously driving a better ROI as well. So essentially, this data strategy is something which we want to implement where we have complete visibility of the user journey, but at the same time, we are cognizant of the fact that there are some points which are more critical than others, and how can we address those points in real time using Madtech?
Got it. Great. Deepak, on APRO, I mean, we touched upon this briefly, but you have segments which are rich transacting segments and which are shipped out to Google, Meta, other platforms. The campaign managers can directly go to these platforms, execute segments which they create. So I think the inciting point, we touched upon was people can really compare those segments, direct segments versus your segments. Even within APRO, you have multiple segments you can use. You can do A/B testing to see which ones work. So could you throw light on how this inciting can really add value to the ROI of a campaign?
See, largely from how insights can give you actionable outcomes. So let's say, when Rajiv was making a mention for us, our primary user, so for any business, you would say, who's your primary user? Our primary user is a campaign manager, say, who's sitting at Publicis. Our primary user is a campaign manager who's sitting at a brand. Now, what does the primary user do? This is a digital campaign manager who's daily taking business decisions or making investment decisions on behalf of the brand and saying, I'm putting so much ad dollars on Google, on Meta, on DV, XYZ, right? And then he's really looking to drive efficiency out of it. Okay, now what we've done is, or what the tool does is, empowers this campaign manager to have limitless segmentation, which is not available on these platforms. Okay, and then build their own cohorts. Our system goes and, on demand fetches it from our partner ecosystem, ships it to them. So they're constantly learning on a daily basis which segment is overperforming and which segment is underperforming. So they're able to create cohorts, competing cohorts from our platform, plus they're able to look at native segmentation which you're utilizing on Google, Meta, and so many platforms. So the whole power lies in saying that, listen, if I can take this, and as a campaign manager on the fly, I have comparative data, I can iterate on it. So that's the power of being able to say insights leading into a measurability part, and then finally able to act on that. So that's, okay. And over time, the tool then starts also giving them recommendations. So they create a combination of and or filters. They can look at a recommendation of it and gives them alternate cohorts which can also be applied there. So it feeds into the whole narrative of this, and it's fundamentally saying that we have to constantly elevate campaign efficiency. That's the underlying piece.
Great. Girish, one of the things which really struck me, I mentioned to you as well, was a lot of metrics which you track on Shopperlist, and it's all under the umbrella of the brand knowledge graph, the BKG. And there was one case where a brand increased market share just by looking at these insights that BKG threw up in terms of search terms to go after. Just highlight one example on insights which have driven ROI.
Sure. Given that there is very short time, I'm going to give you a very simple example of how a brand can look at what people are actually buying in the market to be a start point for them to define the right signals to go after when they run a campaign on Meta or Google. Yeah. So Google and Meta have given very good ways, a keyword-based custom intent or interest-based custom intent that you could signal. However, you need to know how to curate the right custom intent. So if you're a hair care brand, our knowledge graph can tell you what are the best sellers in hair care, what are those products, what are those attributes and topics that are interesting to the hair care shopper, and how do they map back to a custom intent audience on YouTube or a custom intent audience on Meta. By doing this simple thing, what you're really doing is helping the algorithm of the media platform find the right audience for your ads. And by doing that, you achieve two things. your relevance to the audience goes up significantly, and your quality score on the media platform also goes up significantly, which means the relevance increases the effectiveness, the quality score increases the efficiency. Media costs come down. Yeah? So that's a good way of using knowledge about what people do, using a tool like our brand knowledge graph to be able to target better using data.
Great.
Yeah.
Sandeep, data insights have been very scarce in the brick and mortar world. But today, you mentioned by analyzing the phone calls, you really know that what is the engagement where there's a big drop off at the store, and how you're really supercharging this data insights at brick and mortar. If you could, in 30 seconds, maybe quickly.
Sure. So, cognizant of time, I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. So, I mean, today on our platform, we work with close to about 300 plus brands in India and then some more brands in Southeast Asia. So, we generate these insights, which are essentially actions which consumers take on online destinations or online surfaces, which convert into an action for an offline retailer or a branch. So, close to about almost 200 million actions happen in a year. These could be calls, these could be chats, these could be get directions which consumers use to reach the destination. Now, when you plug this data with AI, which we have done, and essentially are able to create context from these calls, and ability to create cohorts and retarget and resegment those cohorts. I'll give you a quick example. So we work with a large electronic chain brand. And when iPhone 16 was launched, they used this data and this model in a very interesting way that, whenever a consumer used to call the store and the store manager would say that the iPhone 16 is out of stock, real time our AI engine would, capture that signal, and we can actually, we would sort of trigger a WhatsApp message to the customer, because we know also the inventory which is available on the other stores, that it is not available in the store, but within the vicinity it is available on some other store. And parallelly, you can also, if you have an e-commerce destination, you can also plug in a link to buy it online. So, these insights which are never available for the offline or brick and mortar stores, those are now being made possible through our platform. And using AI, we are able to channelize those insights, because there's like large amount of data with 200 million actions happening. We're channelize that data real time into actionable, remarketing campaigns or retargeting campaigns for our customers.
Great. So we've got, I think, 2.5 minutes for the last bucket. So I'll go with 30 seconds per panelist. So the third bucket was, what are the best practices in combining analytics, AI, and automation? So I'll 30 seconds per.
Apologies. I'm so sorry, sir. I would have to intervene on this. We're really pressed on time, but as being respectful to you, if I can just request our speakers, just one word, if you can just say something at the end. I know I don't want to be disrespectful to any one of you, but if, sir, if we can just direct maybe a one word from each of them, just to sort of wrap on the theme of today. So let's just get a yes or a no. Yeah. Do you believe in, of course, data first and AI next? Let's just start with that, sir. Your point of view. Data first, AI next, yes or no? Yay, nay.
Can I change the question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
But that's going to be a lengthy one.
So we've had the chat as well before. So when it came to driving AI, automation, analytics, each of you had something over there in your ecosystem. Start with Anshul. What's that one thing which you really brought to the fore?
No, this is ROI delivery and sort of using AI and data analytics to better the performance of any campaign for our advertiser, right from targeting to end delivery. That's what. Okay.
So Deepak, that one system which you've evolved in this area.
For us, it's only efficiency. Just one keyword. We look to drive efficiency for campaigns. That's all.
Okay. Girish, what about you?
Ability to get to an insight in a data-rich world using technology.
And Sandeep, what about you?
Definitely growth. Drive growth for these businesses, which are essentially offline, and they want customers to come to them. And today, most customers are online. They need to sort of leverage the power of digital, which has not been the case so far.
And Anshuman, what about you?
From the brand's perspective, I think my one word would be personalization.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. We've kind of in a way touched upon the two buckets in quite detail, and the third we just skimmed over. Hopefully, the audience, you've taken out some actionable insights from here. It's been quite a diverse panel, diverse views. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajiv, for conducting and curating the conversation for us. And towards the end, if I could now request two of our dignitaries to please join us for the token of appreciation to all our eminent panelists. If I could request Rahul Singh, Senior Director, Business Development of the Trade Desk, along with Mr. Jaspreet Bindra, MMA India Board Member and Founder, Tech Whisperer Limited, to please join us and help us in the felicitation of all our eminent panelists. First, of course, let's get them in one frame. Let's end on a great note with the panel. We'll request Mr. Bindra as well, sir, if you can just join us in the frame. Let's have you all together. Let's give them a big, big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today. Come on, a mighty, mighty round of applause for all of them. And of course, the finale panel conversation, which truly helped us in talking further about our theme and further validating on how Madtech optimizes customer engagement in the data-driven world. With that, if I may request now our eminent leaders who are present here, Jaspreet, if you can do us the honors of starting with our moderator, Mr. Rajiv. Sir, if you can just step in the center and allow us an opportunity. And Jaspreet, if you can just also step in the center, allow us an opportunity to give you a small token of appreciation from our side. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm, warm round of applause. With that, if you could now request Mr. Anshul Batra to please step forward. Jaspreet, if you can please once again help us with the felicitation of Mr. Anshul Batra. Anshul, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your wisdom. Let's appreciate him with a warm round of applause. Also, Jaspreet, if we could now request you to give it to Anshuman Dhanorkar. Anshuman, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's give him a warm, warm round of applause. Always great to have the leaders in one frame. And if we could now request Mr. Rahul Singh to further give it to Mr. Deepak Khurana. Deepak, if you can do us the honor of course, stepping in the center, and if we could request Rahul Singh to now join him in one frame. Ladies and gentlemen, a warmer round of applause for Mr. Deepak Khurana. If I could now request Mr. Girish Ramachandran to please step forward. Of course, Rahul, if you can do us the honor of giving it to Mr. Girish Ramachandra. Ladies and gentlemen, let the applause continue. And of course, Mr. Sandeep Singh, if we can have you in the frame along with Mr. Rahul Singh. Yes, Mr. Singh's together. And with that, a very, very big thank you to all our eminent panelists and